Welcome back to DC Junction. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
It's like a minute since we did the non-spoiler one. Honestly amazed we lasted as long as we did. All right, cool. This is full like I'm not even like spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for Superman. You have I'm going to leave this up for quite a bit of time. You have no excuse for saying, what spoilers? And then this even says full spoilers on it, and I'm going to leave that up the entire time. So you haven't seen the movie. Why are you here?
The Hammer of Valeria or whatever the crap. It's not
Supergirl. They address
out the gate.
I'm not going to lie. So many of our predictions were disproven within the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Exactly.
All right. So if you guys saw our out of theater reactions, our social media posts, or our non-spoiler review, you know we love the movie.
Yes,
like we love the movie.
I had a great time.
Had an incredible time. I'm seeing it next week again. I already bought my ticket. I'm going to be in Philly next week. I'm seeing it with some friends. Like it's going to be great. We're gonna talk about it at length now. Obviously, there are some nitpicks. We'll probably get those out of the way, mostly so we can just kind of talk about how awesome this movie is for the rest of it. But again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. And follow us on social medias down in the front, or it's above Matt. We put it in two places because we can never figure out how to point at this one. All right. So, Superman, we saw it last night at one of the early fan screenings.
Give me your thoughts.
So as someone who has famously said, not famously, but historically said, I'm just not haven't always been the biggest Superman fan, who, you know, I'm always looking for ways to make Superman palatable for me. And I know that's a me thing. That's not me saying there's anything wrong with Superman. It's just Superman just doesn't really do much for me. And I really don't like Lex Luthor as a character. So I'm always interested in someone who can take it in a way that's different than what we're used to be a bit more appealing. We all know I love my Adventures with Superman, Man of Steel, things like that. And this gave me a Superman that I didn't know I needed. Like between his, just in the first few minutes in that first like actual sequence in the Fortress of Solitude, when he's, you know, like saying like, golly, what the hey, geez, Crypto, like he's so clean, squeaky clean, but not in a way that felt ham-fisted. Like this is a man who was born campy and he comes by it earnestly. And I'm honestly just kind of how impressed he was able to deliver some truly cheesy lines in a way that didn't feel cheesy. I was really impressed. So I'm like this. I said this in our non-spoiler review, but like as somebody who this is one of those things that makes me watch as a non-Superman fan go, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it. All right, cool.
Yeah. I thought, look, I've been needing a Superman movie for a long time. And for me personally, we haven't got one in decades.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of Snyder, which we've said.
Yeah, Man of Steel wasn't it for you.
Oh God, what was the one with
Superman Returns?
Brandon Routh, is that what it was called?
Yeah, Superman Returns.
Yeah, that was not Superman.
That wasn't it for anybody.
And I think having that annoyance with it of like, why can't we get it right in cartoons but not in live action? It should not be that way. And this is that. Like, this is it everything is out of a comic book, as it should be. Look, I get that we're not kids and we want to be adults, but that doesn't mean your comic book becomes an adult.
Yeah.
You know, there's you can do that.
We love our Deadpool and Wolverine. We love our Joker. We love the Batman. You know, we love our Harley Quinn animated series. You can have that.
You can have that. But Superman, that doesn't apply in any way, shape, or form for anything. There's never been a Superman like that. Maybe some Elseworlds weirdness when you get into like that kind of stuff. Maybe. But I really feel like this is the Superman the animated series come to life. They even put Lois Lane as much purple as possible.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I wasn't the only one that noticed that. Like, I noticed it in a couple of the trailer shots. I was like, no, they're leaning into the purple. Also, Rachel Brosnahan. Wear more purple. Just saying.
But no, I think all the characters come out of the comics. All the things. I mean, when we get into nitpicks, to some detriment, there's a couple things that I was like, I don't know if we needed to go there. But all in all, I had a good time with this movie. I can't wait to take my kids to see it, which is a big thing for me because having a lot of comic book movies where it's like, I can show you a scene from Deadpool. I can show you some things like I'm going a little bit tangenty, but like I remember one time getting excited, like, hey, Race, let's go watch the MCU movies. And he's like 8 or 9 years old. And we watched the first Iron Man and going like, beep, nope, let's watch something different. Like the first Iron Man movie is not kid appropriate.
Oh yeah, maybe not for an 8 or 9 year old. No,
it's not bad, but it's just like, oh look, yeah, he was banging some chick. Like,
well, not even that. It's just like, okay, he's just taking shrapnel to the chest in the first couple minutes. All right, this is a like. People hear the term family friendly, and they think PBS, and that's fair, but this is truly like that's kid friendly though. This is family friendly in that it's like, no, everyone can go see this. Is there some language? Yeah. Some violence? Yeah. Some themes? Yeah. But like nothing that they would get from reading the comic book itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to that point too, about like the tone and the adult side and things like that. They're comic books, as we all know, for the longest time were kid stuff. And then they started dipping their toe in some more adult themes, and it was great for its time, but it was still very surface level. And then Frank Miller enters the equation, and we and then you either get the kid friendly or the behind in a sealed bag, and you have to have your parents with you to be able to buy it, kind of thing. And somewhere in the last 15-20 years, we've hit kind of a middle ground where it's like comic books are kid accessible, but we're not going to treat kids like they're dumb anymore. And I think that's where it's like we no longer have to pretend like kid friendly has to mean dumbed down. And that's where this movie I think really shines, is in its tone and in its attitude. Its tone and attitude are pitch perfect in that, like, this could have very easily just felt like MCU, take off the strippings, put on DC paint, call it a day. Could have very easily felt like that. Didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like them trying to force superheroes into the real world. This could have also very much felt like, Snyderverse fan, but like very dark, very edgy, very Frank Miller inspired. This was, no, we're going to take everything that worked from the comics and everything that worked, and we're just gonna jigsaw it. We're gonna jigsaw it together. Okay, we've Picasso'd together like everything, like James Gunn really, it felt like with this one, learned from the past when it came to setting the tone and setting the attitude for the DCU, and that it feels so distinctly unique. This feels like its own thing. It doesn't feel derivative of anything else. It doesn't feel, I don't want to say it feels inspired by the past, but it doesn't feel like it's trying to emulate anything. This is just trying to be something new.
Yes.
And it shines throughout the whole movie.
Yes. I'm excited for this version of Superman going forward.
Yeah.
I think I said it.
Let's get into some specifics. Let's get into some. I think we've broad stroked it enough. Let's get into some specifics. Let's talk about it. We teased it at the end of the non-spoiler. Yeah. Let's talk about Superman. Let's talk about David Corenswet as Superman, because bro, as much as I loved Henry Cavill, as much as I really have surface level enjoyed what I've seen online of Tyler Hoechlin, as much as I think Brandon Routh is a very good actor and just wasn't the right pick for that Superman because that movie was terrible, I haven't seen someone just be Superman like this since Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
I'm like, I truly, it is so hard to put into words the way this guy, and I talked about at the beginning, like the cheesiest of dialogue, the most pure of sentiments. Like, it's even a point that's brought up routinely in the movie of like, why does this guy just fucking trust everyone? We find out that like everyone he knows his secret identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what is the point of having it if you're just gonna tell him? She and even Lois tells him, she's like, you just see and love and trust everyone, and that goes to like when we watched All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
And we had, that was a big theme of that at the end of like, you know, when Lex temporarily has Superman's powers, it's like he sees the world differently than all of us.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that every time someone in the movie, regardless of who it was, somebody at some point would bring up like, what is it with him and the optimism and all that? And it's like, man, I watched All-Star Superman just like a week or two ago, and I get it. Yeah.
I think that the scene that kind of really does hit it home is when that weird kaiju thing is attacking
Literally
Metropolis.
I'm gonna call him Dave.
When Dave is attacking the city and Superman's trying to stop him without killing him.
Yes.
And then the Justice Gang or whatever they're called shows up, and he's like, well, I'm trying to figure out how I could do this and get him out of the city without hurting him. And Mr. Terrific just does the
dude.
Let's just kill him and be done
Let's
with
just be done.
It's just an animal. And it's just that exactly is what Superman is. That is like, I just needed that scene alone to be like, this is Superman. That is what Superman would do. Is this animal is not some weird, crazy, vicious thing that I just need to annihilate. Because if that was it, he could have done that in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was
but we know from 30 seconds prior, it was the little guy.
Yeah.
He was the little guy who apparently drank some coffee, and it made him big.
He's one of those little toys that's all dried up and you put him in water and he explodes. Like, that's all I thought must happen. But no.
Oh, no, he's a gremlin.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's stuff like that we need out of Superman.
Yeah.
Is that
it's stuff like that we need out of comic book movies.
Yes.
It's guys, these are still comic books.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, they're going to be kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it's going to be a little monster of the week. Aren't you going to go help them with that? No, it's just a intergalactic imp. They got it. I was out looking for the dog. My theater laughed so hard.
Yeah, we had Ryan and I were like slowly laughing harder and harder the more they would see in the background that he's hitting Green Lantern's hitting it with this big bat, and you're just like trying to concentrate on this conversation, but I'm laughing at the fact that they're doing all these things.
Well, what I appreciated was the jokes didn't overstay.
Yeah.
Because that was a bit of an issue with me in Guardians 2, was I felt like they went for the joke a little bit too often. I love James Gunn. Sometimes he goes for the joke a little more often than I think he should. The jokes didn't overstay. Even in that scene, it would have been really easy to have those background jokes
just be a complete oneer
and just kill the vibe. But it was like, no, we got enough. And then they let it sit for a bit. But even like the heavy stuff didn't overstay its welcome. Because even when when that conversation got heavy, they let it get heavy, and then they pull it back a little bit, be like, hey guys, this is still we're still in, which I want to get these out of the way.
Let's do it.
let's get the nitpicks out of the way. We're 15 minutes in. Let's get the nitpicks out of the way.
Okay.
My biggest nitpick.
Okay.
This movie needed another 10 minutes.
I'm not gonna say nitpicks. I'm gonna say negatives because some of the rephrase. I will get into a nitpick right now, and then I'm gonna get into some negatives.
Okay.
I know why you made Ultraman a clone, so you could do the Fortress of Solitude thing, but I kind of felt like I knew the moment you walked up to the Fortress of Solitude, he was a clone.
Well,
you didn't have to wait the entire movie to reveal it. And I think part of me goes, there is a plethora, that means a lot, of other DC characters that can stand toe to toe with Superman that you could have put in this place that I feel like would have been better placed. But I also feel like I know we're dropping into the third year. So that was my only thing, is I was hoping I was wrong. But at the same time, like, I get, like, this is the quickest and easiest way to get. Ultimately, this is not about hacking the Fortress of Solitude. This is to get in and do the thing and get out to progress the story. So I was a little kind of like, I wish that wasn't the thing. That's my nitpick of the movie. I have other negatives, but that's my nitpick.
And that is a fair nitpick. That is a fair nitpick. That was my first thought. This goes into my.
You can go. You're okay.
I think they're setting up for Bizarro with him. I think that's why they did him as a clone.
Oh, yeah.
Because he goes into a black hole. He doesn't die. He goes into a black hole. Well, and even just the fact that like just the and this I'm gonna bring this up again in the prediction video, because this is one of my predictions, was that he was gonna be a setup for Bizarro. And like, just the fact that they were like, and even you said, like, yeah, he's one of several clones. They're like, he's you. He's just not intelligent and doesn't. And so like everything about that, I was like, oh, so he's Bizarro, and he's gonna go through this black hole and get all jacked up in this pocket dimension, and we'll see him again probably in the next one as Bizarro. So for me, I was willing to let that slide, because it was just kind of like, okay, but also we already kind of figured that going into it. So for us, it's just kind of like, oh, well, that confirms the thing we already figured was true. So for us, it's almost, and so I'm with you, but I almost don't hold that against the movie, because like that's almost our fault for being a little too in the know going into the movie. You know what I mean?
That's why I said that's a nitpick. That's not a negative. That's me going like.
And for me, for mine with this new movie, I felt like it could have used another 10 minutes, was just because, as much as I liked the movie, there were a couple times I felt like the pacing was just a little bit rushed. And I feel like some of these scenes could have used a few extra bit. I don't mean it needed, I think it needed kind of, don't fight me, this needed a little bit of a BBS treatment, where it's just like 30 seconds here, 10 seconds here, 5 seconds here. Let a couple of these scenes breathe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning. It was mostly in the beginning. Once we get out of the first act, I'm good. The first act needed a little bit of pacing, but I also understood, and again, this is kind of the problem with going into a movie a little bit half-cocked like we do, which is like, I also understood going into this, they were making up for some stuff in the past, so it is what it is. I get that. Regardless, I think the pacing, I think the movie just could use a little bit extra time in some of the scenes to let them breathe a little bit. That's my nitpick. You've got some slightly bigger issues you want to get into, so I'm gonna let you hit on that, and we'll see how mad they make me.
Okay. This is a medium.
Yeah.
I don't know why Hot Girl was screaming all the time. She's not Banshee.
Oh, that was just that was such what's the because there's multiple Hot Girl iterations. The one that's actually an alien. Like,
okay. That was the only, like, I was like,
that was kind of her thing was that she would screech when she attacked.
Okay. That was
That
my
was-
only kind of
okay.
like, did I miss this in the comic? Because my
No.
real main exposure to Hot Girl is the animated show,
Okay.
which they don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, no. No.
So that was
because they know parents would never let their kids watch it again because they're like, I can't with the screaming.
yeah. So that was my only like,
Okay.
okay, maybe there's something I'm missing here.
Yeah, that's just a Hot Girl thing.
Yeah. So that was
actually, I will say I kind of liked that. I was like, oh, it didn't feel fake at least.
no. She looked cool. Yeah. She for what that girl was given the 3 seconds she had to do things.
Yeah.
But it's not her movie.
No, it's not.
It's not her movie.
Yeah. We'll talk more about the supporting cast later. Well, there was you had any other issues or
I'm trying to think what other issues I had. It sounds weird. I'm almost didn't like that they arrested Lex at the end. He famously always gets away with it.
Well,
but I think it for a film,
because
you just have this. We may get 3 Superman movies. We don't have 4 seasons of 80 episodes. So I know a movie does that, but I that was my other kind of like,
that's
and
fine.
I think, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything that really else kind of.
And again, I'm not trying to talk away.
Yeah,
but if it gives you some peace of mind, I think for that it's just like cool. Now Nick Holt can go do something else for a while, and then when we're ready to bring Lex back, we can.
Yeah,
or that gives you the plot of the next movie is, Superman 2, how Lex Luthor got his groove back.
Yeah, and then I think the other thing that, like they actually translated the message, and it's a thing, and then you don't revisit that later.
Okay,
the revisit is like, oh, I'm watching home movies, and I'm like, I really wish we had a better resolution of that. Now, I don't know if they're waiting for the sequel.
Yeah,
because even if it was like a, hey, like a Mr. Terrific going like, I finally did get that message. I think I need to delve into this more. You don't have to tell me, oh no, Lex made it all up. You could do something like that so that I'm not.
Well, and that's the thing is they do at during like the when the Baravian prime minister or president, whatever he is, goes to the pocket dimension for the first time, when we see it happen the first time, he says in a kind of throwaway line of dialogue, oh, it's like, oh, that message is great, and Lex is like, no, I doctored it. Like it's like, oh, really? That's how we're, and then yeah, it's never addressed again.
Yeah,
that kind of goes, I think, a little bit to my nitpick too, which I think that also lends itself to, like, I feel like there was like a scene or something that could have been like, I can see where there's like the message of like, it doesn't matter what the second half of their message was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but again, that's one of those, I was like, I kind of, and maybe I'm dumb, and I put that together later than everybody else did. Maybe that's the meaning of the ending, and we're just now figuring it out right here on camera. The ending almost moved me to tears, I'll tell you that right now. But I agree. Yeah, I think they could have just done a little bit more to address that. There is a loose thread, but I think it's on purpose, and that's the engineer.
She's dead.
Well, no, she's not dead. Remember, they said that well, no, remember, because Lex said, remember they said like she still got a pulse, and Lex said like get her medevaced out of there or something like that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember that part. I just remember Mr. Terrific put everything back together.
No, I know, but
she was down there.
Yeah, he mentioned something about getting her back together. I think I'm seeing it again next week. I'll find out.
Yeah, I'll see it this weekend. So
we'll check our notes, or correct us down at the bottom. And hey, while you're on your way down there, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it.
Yeah, because that was one of those things where I went, "Oh, she's dead."
That was my.
He didn't kill her, but
Maybe that's James Gunn's way of saying, okay, we're done with the Authority. But I think, again, that just lends itself more to like, okay, a couple more minutes, let some of this stuff breathe. But like, if that's the worst I don't really have anything. Well, this isn't a negative, but I think we should talk a little bit about the supporting cast in a way. So Lois Lane, Rachel Brosnahan.
Okay.
Up top, I will say, doesn't have a ton to do in this movie, but also neither does most of the supporting cast. But the role she does play is significant. She like this is Superman's movie, and very much like in The Batman, where he's Batman for like 90% of the movie, and Bruce Wayne for the other 10%. He's Superman for like 90% of this movie, and Clark Kent for like 10. We see him as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter, for like 5 minutes throughout the movie. And that is not a complaint.
No.
That to me is like, good for you. This is a comic book movie. I'm here to see Superman. I'm here to see Batman. I'm not here to see, like, give me more of Clark Kent in the sequel. Right now, I'm here to see Superman. And so by making sure that the movie was as much about him as possible, but still giving the supporting characters something to do to where it feeds the larger story. Like, everything everyone was doing was in service of the story. I didn't feel like there was a wasted frame. Not for nothing, I literally just asked for more a couple minutes ago. Yeah. So like, even when it was focusing on Lois Lane and the Daily Reporter crew, they didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah. But
what they did worked for the story. Like, it served a purpose. They did what they supported. They were there to support.
Yeah. I had a really hard time with the interview scene. After he walks out, I leaned over to my wife and I was like, why does he love her?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is something I have said for years. For years. Not that it's a thing against Lois Lane, but it's like they are so diametrically different from each other. That's not a word. I think I just made up a word.
That's fine.
They are so, it's like, I don't, and especially like even everything prior to like her finding out who he is. Like, Lois Lane is notoriously not nice to Clark Kent ever. And yet he still is just like, it's like, oh, but I know how she is when she's with Superman. It's like, yeah, she's like that when she's with Superman. This is how she's treating a regular person.
Well,
and so when we get into with the interview, here's what I will say. She handled that interview like a proper journalist. She asked the questions that she was supposed to ask. However, as a journalist, she should know better. The public doesn't know she's in a relationship with Superman / Clark Kent, but she should know better. As ethically compromising as it is for Clark Kent to interview Superman, it is just as ethically compromising for Lois Lane to interview Superman.
Yes,
because just as much as he shouldn't be doing it because he knows the questions in advance, she shouldn't be doing it because she knows the pain points in it, or because she knows the answers in it. That's not the right way to say it. She knows. She's intentionally asking. No, she's doing a journalist job. What am I saying? Nope. Every way I try the phrases, the more I realize, no, wait, she's just doing a journalist job. And I think what it comes down to is just the interview made me uncomfortable, but I think that was because it was supposed to make everyone uncomfortable. Because, look, as somebody who's been involved in some of those interviews, there's kind of how they're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. I think that's that whole thing of like, you want to let me interview Superman? Hey, by the way, I'm going to interview you because this is what I'm trying to do. Yeah. This is the answer. Like, that's where I just kind of go like,
it was a very slanted interview.
Can I interview you? Oh, by the way, I'm going to shit on you instantaneously the moment I get a chance. You ready? That I would have been like, okay, now we're ready for this. But for her to be like, oh, you're going to let me interview me? Cool. hey, you suck. You suck at all these
Well,
different. And I was just like, what? And that's where I kind of got this weird feeling of like, are these
here's
things you want to go after him for? Or is this, and that's where I just kind of had this moment of like, this is off putting. And again, like, for me, this is where we've missed
Mhm.
the 3 months of a romance between these two. We've missed the year of him
Yeah.
falling for her. So for this to be the first scene of them together, I just kind of was like, and the fact that like she walks into her apartment and hears somebody wandering around and she picks up her bat, and I'm like, you can't tell when he's there. And so it was just a weird
That's that.
thing.
I think that just goes back into like what we were saying earlier of like the beginning has some pacing issues. And yeah,
Yeah.
it is a little odd for our first introduction to them as a couple is to be a really upsetting interview.
Yeah.
But again, the more I think about it now here live in the moment, I'm actually thinking like I think that may have been by design. Because it's the end of that interview. It's that conversation they have later when the Justice Gang is dealing with the imp, you know,
Yeah.
where she has that moment of like, look, where he apologizes for his reaction because as he was also incredibly defensive and seeing that interview in its full context compared to what we saw, you know, in the trailer, to where it's like, oh, Clark, Superman, you just grabbed a guy, flew him across the desert, and pushed him up against a cactus. Regardless of what he was doing, on the surface to the outside world, not a good look.
Yeah.
Like we you know, bring people up on war crime charges for stuff like that. So like so it was getting to see that full interview in its full context. It did what it was supposed to do in that like it set us up for these two characters, particularly Superman, our lead, to have some growth and character development to the end of the movie. I just would have liked a little bit more of them actually. Like I would have liked to have seen, again, to your earlier point, why are these two together in the first place?
Yeah. Give me the dinner. And then the dinner ends with this. And it doesn't have to be a 5-minute dinner.
Especially when the dinner is breakfast food. If breakfast food is for dinner, I want to see that because that's delicious.
And he was born in the country. He was raised by country
Oh,
folks.
you
You
know,
know,
he's cooking it in bacon fat.
bacon fat, biscuits and gravy, grits, which are gross, but
You shut up. Grits are delicious, and I will fight you. I will fight you. Let's talk about. I do want to talk about.
Right. That's gonna be my gif.
That's gonna be your gift. I do want to talk about Rachel Brosnahan though as Lois Lane, because I was one of those, like, I'm a huge fan of Marvel's Mrs. Maisel. I love Rachel Brosnahan, and I think from top to bottom, back to front, I mean, we've said it before, we'll say it a million times more, ripped off the comic book pages, man. I mean, this Lois Lane, this is, just what a, I've never, it's always so rare because Rachel Brosnahan is such a big star and she is someone who, like, I am a big fan of. So it's can be hard to watch someone that you're that, you know, career-wise enamored with and to not have a disconnect seeing them on screen. At no point did I go, oh, look, it's Rachel Brosnahan. Oh, look, it's Mrs. Maisel. Like, no, that was Lois Lane. And as simple as just some costume changes and just the way, just everything about her presentation of the kid, the mannerisms, the punk rock attitude, more sugar than coffee in her coffee mug. Such a good scene.
Yeah.
The constant pot shots at James Gunn's band from back in the day. The Mighty Crabjoys were truly awful. I'm sorry, James Gunn, but they're just not good. Yeah, I really enjoyed, and I liked Amy Adams. I really enjoyed Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane.
I thought she was good. I think she had outstanding chemistry with David Cornsweet.
Yeah.
I think she does she's not bad. I think she does what she needs to do in this movie. And I think she's given enough to do that I'm looking forward to seeing her again. I don't think she's great. I don't think this is. I hate to compare it, but she is the quote unquote co-star of this movie. This is not announcing her to film the way this is announcing David Cornswet to film.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier. It's like the supporting cast is here to support.
Yeah,
she doesn't have a ton to do, but what she has to do, she does well. Like Lois Lane serves her role in this movie, but at no point is like attention taken off of. Even when Superman's not on screen, you still like everything is still in some way in service of the story surrounding him. You know what I mean? So, you know, we've touched on them a little bit. Let's talk about our supers, our other metas.
Okay.
We talked about Hawkgirl. Let's talk about Guy Gardner. Let's talk about Nathan Fillion. Let's talk about the bowl-cutted bastard himself. I have no idea how he is gonna fit into Lanterns at all.
Dude, it's Nathan Fillion.
But I can't wait. This is making me more excited to see like the Green Lantern constructs look so good. His bowl cut was so intentionally bad, and I love that they took pot shots at him for it. The attitude, just man, that was him eating Fruity Pebbles at a diner for some reason.
Yeah.
What a just.
He was. I thought he was perfect for what he was. Captain Hammer.
Yes,
with a ring.
He was Captain Hammer. If Captain Hammer was useful.
Yeah, and it was. I thought he was perfect for it. I think he was. I wasn't sure why they cast him initially. Like I thought that was a weird place to put Nathan Fillion, but to see him, like, it sounds weird to say this, but like Guy Gardner should be that guy who doesn't understand that he's possibly outclassed. So that moment where he's like about to fight Superman for no reason whatsoever. And I'm like, but Nathan Fillion's that dude where you would believe like he thinks this could happen. And I thought he nailed everything he was supposed to nail as that character. And it was just like, okay, yeah. And if just keep bringing him back, let him be like, you put him in Lanterns, put him in there. I'm down for it, but I did also have that weird moment of like, yeah, you have that moment where he's like, "Hey, I took an oath to take people like you down if this is really what you're doing here."
Yeah,
and you have that moment of like, ultimately, he is a Green Lantern.
He's a Green Lantern for a reason.
Yeah,
he's a jackass, but
yeah. So that moment where you're like, no, he legit may be going after Superman at this point. So I thought he did all the things he needed to do in this role, and I'm looking forward to seeing him come back.
I am too, and it really also like seeing his interactions just with everyone. Like that was something, you know, we talk about Rachel Brosnahan's chemistry with David Cornswet, but also just everyone's chemistry with everyone. We get to see like just about every character interact with every other character at some point. It's kind of wild how much character interaction there is between characters you wouldn't expect. Didn't think I needed to see Lois Lane and Mr. Terrific just kind of, you know, hanging out and talking shit about Guy Gardner, but lo and behold, it was dope. Speaking of Mr. Terrific, you want to talk about like the sleeper favorite part of the movie for you and me? Because why is Mr. Terrific like one of my absolute favorite parts of this movie with a bullet?
Because he is written so freaking well.
Oh,
and
Edie Gathegi, like,
when he's like, "Hey, I don't really do emotions," and she just keeps talking, and he just looks back at her like, "Would you shut up?"
Edie Gathegi, you know what Mr. Terrific's superpower is? The side eye. That man can side eye. Holy Jesus! He is so over this shit.
Yeah.
At the ripe old age of, I'm guessing, like 30, or however old he is getting too old for this shit. He is done with everyone and everything. and I think that's because, you know, he's just the smartest person in the room all the time. And he's just like, oh my God, everyone is so much dumber than me.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you've got someone who's that smart and also has people skills. Because usually when we see characters like this, it's like they're that smart, but they can't interact with people to save it. He's like, no, I'm that smart, and I'm going to tell you just how dumb you are.
Yeah. This is why you don't make black holes, because it'll rip things apart.
This is exactly the kind of careless.
This is
kind of careless tech that Luther loves.
Yeah. So he was out. The Wunner scene where he takes down the entire camp is amazing.
Yeah. We had a couple of Wunners in this.
Yeah,
two or three Wunner action scenes. Wunners. They were you know, but you know, they were cool to see. But like his interactions with Superman, again, it's like I dare say he was almost like the other co-star of the movie, along with Rachel Brosnahan. I mean, it was I don't want to harp on it over and over again, but I really was just kind of taken aback with like, seriously, how did you guys make me love Mr. Terrific this much in a Superman movie?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. He is performance, and dude looks so freaking cool.
Oh yeah, that's a costume that could have been so dumb so easily.
Yeah. He was, it was like, I dare say, give me his movie or his show, because I need to see it. But I was already
like, that's one of those, like, it's kind of like, you know, when you watch like the MCU and like, you know, you get your first Black Widow thing and everyone's like, yo, can we get a Black Widow thing like now?
Yeah.
And then it takes 15 years. Yeah, don't waste any time on a Mr. Terrific show or movie or whatever. Like I need it like immediately. And again, not something I thought had come out of Superman saying.
Yeah.
And I also it was so okay, let's talk about Krypto. I just want to talk about Krypto.
Okay.
The other star of the movie, the other like favorite character of the movie, who, you know, just super runs onto screen in the first 30 seconds, and also much bigger role in the movie than I thought he was going to have.
Yes.
And kind of almost runs away with every scene he's in.
Ryan hated him because he's a bad dog. She was just like,
because he's the worst dog.
Yeah. She's like, every time he would do something, she would just be like, and I'm like, yeah, that's a bad dog. And then of course at the end when they find
out why, when Millie Alcock shows up is I want to, I'll talk about that more in a sec, but
no, he was, I think he was in it enough that it was like Hulk in the first Avengers movie. You're here enough to do the things you're supposed to do, but not so much that we're tired of you. I thought it was hilarious every time he would show up, because he would just do the dumbest crap and ruin things.
Be a dog.
Like the fact that he eats the T-spheres, and then Mr. was like, what are you doing? Like,
as soon as he made eye contact with the first one, I laughed so loud I made the person in front of me jump, because I just went, ha! Because I knew in that moment what was about to happen, and I was like, oh, that's funny. Suddenly there are tennis balls that
and he has to chase.
Yeah. The moment Engineer threw a thing and it hit Krypto and I heard the yelp, you could feel the energy in the room shift of like, what the fuck did you just do? I'm gonna like, and got him chasing super squirrels. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, that's so mean. He's got to be so tired, but also that's funny. That's very funny. Yeah, let's address it real quick while we brought it up. Is Supergirl's cameo happens right at the end of the movie. Krypto's Supergirl's dog in this one, and the reason he is such a misbehaved little shit is because so is Supergirl.
Yes,
he's a misbehaved little shit. Now, I know you haven't watched House of the Dragon, so you have no frame of
I have
reference really
nothing for
Alec
her.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So this is kind of all for me. I love House of the Dragon. The character she plays in House of the Dragon is this. This is the character she plays, just transposed into Supergirl. A 20-something partier that likes to live dangerously, has more power than she knows what to do with, has no limits, no boundaries, and don't even try telling her what to do. It's going to be it's less of a headache. It's easier to just clean up after than it is to try and deal with it now. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Her cameo is brief. It is small. So I'm not gonna go too off the rails on this, other than just to say what we got teased of this version of Supergirl, with what I know of this actress, with what I know from reading Woman of Tomorrow, which we know is now, like, the movie's just gonna be called Supergirl, but Woman of Tomorrow is
Yeah.
just knowing what I know, and from the brief bit we got in this, I'm now legitimately excited to see Supergirl, because it has me going, oh, just something about actually seeing it, even just a little bit on screen, of how well, just how good she looks. And I not like in a sleazy way, just like in the same way that Corin Sweat looks like Superman, she looks like Supergirl. And from what I know, from what I remember from the book, and just knowing what she can do as an actress, I'm so stoked to see what more she can do. How did you feel about the brief cameo we got of her as Supergirl with no prior knowledge of this actress?
Oh, look, a Supergirl. Cool.
Okay, cool. Got it. Yeah, no, I get it. No, totally fine. If you've never seen House of the Dragon, totally get it. If you haven't read Woman of Tomorrow, totally get it. That's just Supergirl to you. Totally fine.
It was exactly what I thought she was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to come in, do this, and leave. And it was like,
once it was revealed she wasn't the Hammer of Baravia, I was like, oh, she's either going to be in the last 2 minutes or the post-credit scene.
Yeah. I had a very brief moment of like, is she in a padded suit and she's Ultraman? I'm like, that'd be really dumb.
When the mask started coming off and the hair was long, I had a hot second where I was like, if that's Kara, I might leave the theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they did that in My Adventures of Superman, and I was like,
yeah.
And then I was like, no, that's stupid. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought when Mr. Terrific confirmed the message was real, I thought, are they pulling on My Adventures with Superman with this shit?
Yeah. Well, they did that in Smallville too.
They did, but even their costumes kind of looked a little like what the Kryptonian outfits looked like in My Adventures with Superman. So I was like, wait, are we doing that? But the scene with Kara was very funny, though. I will say, just from a theater going experience, it was a good scene. Thanks for watching my dog, bitch. No boundaries.
All right, real quick, because we skipped Isabel Merced.
We did. We talked about her. Well, we didn't talk about her a lot.
Yeah.
She was good. I like Isabella Merced. I like her in The Last of Us season 2. Last of Us season 2 is but she's good. And for what they needed her to do, she was good.
Yeah, I think she's the casting of, we're going to do something more with her later.
Yeah.
So just wait.
Very non-committal. Like you can easily write her out and just be like, she got tired of Guy Gardner's shit and said, I'm over this. You can easily pepper her in with other. I mean, we know she's going to be a Peacemaker along with Guy Gardner. By the way, Peacemaker cameo. Didn't see that coming.
Oh my God. The whole theater busted out.
Theater lost their shit. Their shit. Yeah. Also, I didn't mention this, but the Hall of Justice, guys, remember, that's the building. I've posted pictures of it on social media. It is worth the Google. The Hall of Justice sign, they CG'd that on there. That wasn't there when I was building. But everything else That's the building. Even that scaffold that was building the sign on the outside of the building, that was there at when I took the picture. You can see it in the picture in the video I took. I assume that was just film rate, like for the sets. No, that is the set. And then they were filming inside there. They redressed it a little bit, obviously, but that's what the inside of that looks like. Guys, that's real. There is so much of this movie that was practical, not CG from a set and production standpoint. I was actually kind of blown away. But yeah, Isabella Merced was really good as Hawkgirl for what she needed to do.
Yeah.
Just didn't have much to do. We haven't talked a lot about Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor.
I was about to bring it up too. That was my next one.
And I think it's fitting we save the villain for the end. Lex Luthor is famously, and I'm saying famously because I've said this a lot, one of my least favorite comic book characters, especially villain wise. So I'm always one of those, like, I have to go in with zero expectations for Lex Luthor, which was hard for me this time because I really love Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah. So
I want you to start with this one. How did you feel about Nick Hoult as Lex Luthor in this movie?
It occurred to me after the movie this morning, thinking about stuff.
Right.
He is what you read All-Star Superman for. The version of Lex Luthor in All-Star Superman is this. And he plays it perfectly. He's so good. The voice is just that weird kind of temperance. I think he just was fantastic. You do have that weird moment of like, I don't want to say there's nothing redeeming about him, but he's just the terrible.
It's the worst. He's just the worst.
The fact that he took the time and used technology to identify a man who helped Superman stand up so he could kill him. And you're like, that's the level of entitled
prick
vindictiveness that it's like, you don't have anything else to do. You've conquered the business world, and now all you have to do is hate this guy who's just here to help the world, and all you can see is hatred because you have nothing better to do with yourself.
And I love that they addressed that.
Yeah.
Like Superman straight up, he's just like, dude, you're just jealous. And Lex is like, yeah, no shit. Of course I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was like, oh, they're just calling it. I was this really lends itself to James Gunn's writing on this one, which we haven't talked about enough. Just as a quick sidebar, like the script on this movie is so tight. It's so like, this is a guy who understands these characters so well.
Yes.
But yeah, like Nick Holt's Lex Luthor is, and I mean, they say as much, but it's like, yeah, this is a guy who went from being in the conversation with the greatest minds in history, and then 3 years ago, some random alien shows up, as far as he knows, and nobody gives a shit about me anymore. Yeah. It reeks of ego death.
Yeah.
In a way that, and because they address it head on, and it's not, and I think that a lot of times is why I have an issue with Superman and Lex Luthor and that adversaryship, is because it's like, because it can be such a surface level issue. Like it reeks of J. Jonah and Spider-Man sometimes.
Yeah.
In a way that it's like, okay, you're just J. Jonah with a budget. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So for them to address it head on in this movie and to kind of make that the point of the movie. I just watched Thunderbolts, and that was a movie I really appreciated because it didn't end with a skybeam or a big CG fight. Yeah. It ended with a different kind of final fight. And that's what, like, we get plenty of big CG action. Don't get me wrong.
Tons of it.
But the final confrontation is him throwing Lex Luthor against a desk and saying, dude, I fuck up just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I get scared. I fall what do you want from me? What do you
Yeah.
want from me? Like, you're literally destroying your own planet.
Yeah.
Just because I exist. Like it's like, yes, thank you. Thank you. And I know there's
Yeah.
some Superman fans in the comments right now. They've already, it's like, I know.
Yeah.
I know, but I just, the way this movie did it was palatable enough for me to go like, okay, I like the way this steak was cooked.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree with everything. I think it was the level of knowledge you have to have about all comics to write this thing blows away a majority of what we've seen in comic book movies. This is somebody who understands not only Superman, but all the characters across the board. There isn't anyone who I feel is totally the only thing, and even then, like, I can't really comment it. Like, Jimmy Olsen being a stud, different but funny.
Jimmy Olsen being the DCU's Casanova in
funny.
a way that it seems like even he doesn't like. It's like he spends half the movie just kind of like, why do these women want me? I just don't. It's
Yeah.
I know that's been a more recent thing in comics as well, but it's one of those I was like, just like, and you haven't seen Game of Thrones, so you won't get this, but those who have know, it was giving me Podrick and Game of Thrones vibes, in which, you know, just the women just seem to love him for reasons. Wink.
Yeah.
Wink. Wink.
Yeah.
Wink. Winkety wink. 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 Wink.
But no,
wink.
So
wink,
I think,
wink.
yeah, I think the writing is stellar.
Yeah.
Is it borderline overstuffed with things I think you could have not had and still told the same story? It's like, just, again, I already said it.
I think that's debatable. Like, I don't think you're wrong. I just think it's,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing where, like, look, like I said it before, the whole thing of Ultraman being the clone. I think that's borderline, but the difference is this: the movie is really, really good. So even though it's something that, had it been in a different movie, I'm like, dude, that's so dumb, I'm like, because the movie's good. Great.
And if it's setting up for something bigger, like if there's a bigger, as James, if there's a bigger plan at play,
yeah,
as James Gunn wants to do, I can let it slide.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But the movie's great. This is the thing. It's like, you give me a great movie. There's things that I would probably traditionally not like that I'm going to be like, okay, like I know whatever you're planning on with that guy is going to work, or maybe he's never coming back. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I do think that he did an exceptional job of weaving this together, dropping that. We've never seen a superhero movie like this before. Not out the gate. You know, Avengers, like not even Avengers Infinity War is the closest we've gotten to this, where you're dropping a character into a world that already exists.
Yeah.
Because all the other movies that are first movies, it's only that one dude. Yeah. So I really do like the way he used all these characters to show how good Superman is, how exceptional of a hero he is, and why he's called Superman.
I've never like we have been picked up and dropped into a world a la the Batman that is so spectacularly lived in, developed, has existed for some time, and we are just lucky to be visiting and along for the ride. This is, as opposed to the MCU, where it's superheroes existing in our world. This is us living in the superheroes world. This is their world, not ours. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wacky. It's going to be silly. It's going to be far-fetched, campy, cheesy, dark, messed up, confusing. Because that's what comic books are. And it's high time that comic book movies just embraced the fact that they're comic books. And James Gunn is out the gate now with technically 2, if you count Creature Commandos, just saying, all right, hold on to your butts.
This is this. Let's go.
This is what it is. I don't know what else we could possibly say about this movie after a full hour now. I mean, I could talk about this movie all day, but
Probably.
we would love to know what you guys think. So please let us know down below in the comments. And while you're headed there, please subscribe. Let us know. If you haven't seen it yet, why are you still here? That's odd. But also make sure you guys follow us on all social media at DC Junction, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Follow me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea.
Follow me across all social media at The Hustle Band.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on DC Junction. We will see you guys again next time.
Bye-bye.